Hey guys, welcome to another episode of New York Bassin, and today I'm going to discuss my top 5 baits of 2013. Overall, my 2013 fishing season's over. Obviously, it's 2014. I'm ice fishing now, which obviously I'm not going to go fishing with my rods and reels or whatever. So now I'm just going to do a breakdown of my top 5 baits, starting at 5 and the best being 1 of 2013. All the way from ice out to ice in. So I'm going to start with the first bait. It's just a topwater frog. Now, literally, I made a huge mistake. I stopped throwing this topwater frog in about mid-July. What basically happened was, from mid-June to mid-July, Luke and I were fishing at this lake near our house, and we're just catching them on frogs left and right. Can't get them off our lines with these frogs. We probably, every single weekend we went, for about 5 straight weekends, we just threw frogs. And we were catching fish like crazy. And all of a sudden we decided to try something new, and we just completely forgot about the frog bite at this place. And I tell you, I don't know how many fish I caught on a frog this year, but it was quite a few. This is literally the only one I have left. I'm wiped completely out of frogs, so I gotta get a lot more this summer, and then this winter. Sorry, but this is definitely my number 5. Caught a ton of fish on this, and a few real nice fish on this on a frog. This is just a man's frog. Didn't really catch anything on this. It was mostly the Booyah Pad Crasher that produced. I'll put that away. Alright, let's move on. Now, another bait I didn't throw throughout the whole year, I don't know. Now, a tube jig. I caught a lot of fish on this up north at Black Lake. I mean, you guys seen Black Lake videos. Caught a lot of fish on this tube. Literally, we would be fishing these tubes all day straight some days just because the fishing was slow in other areas. We'd go out to the shoals, the points, the bluff. Oops, sorry guys. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry my camera fell. But we'd be going out to the shoals, the points, the bluffs, just right in the middle of summer throwing these tubes on light line, 6 to 10 pound fluorocarbon line, just catching fish on these. Now, I didn't start throwing this till August. I mean, I haven't thrown a tube since I was 8 years old before this year. I just stopped throwing tubes when I was about 8 years old when I learned about the jig, and I figured, oh, both imitate a crawfish, must work the same. Wrong. This tube is a really nice finesse bait. Caught a lot of fish on it this summer. My buddy Trevor got me back acquainted with the tube, and we were catching fish on it like crazy. So, that's my number 4 bait. Now my number 3. I don't know, I was debating even putting this on the list, but once I got thinking about it, I was thinking, man, between Luke and I, we really did catch a lot of fish on this bait. And that'd be a chatterbait. Now, this bait really produced well, probably since June. Just produced great. I mean, we could catch fish on this bait anytime we felt like it. Bad conditions for a chatterbait, who cares? Hit the weed bed, we catch fish on it. Really catching a lot of fish on this year. I mean, catching a lot of fish on this. Just caught a lot of fish on this. I mean, good conditions for it. Can't get them off for hooks. Luke especially fished this a lot more than I did, but I did fish it a little bit, and I did catch a lot of fish on this bait. And that'd be a chatterbait. Specifically in chartreuse, but this one's black and blue. Alright. Now let's get to the money baits. Listen. Alright. I'll tell you what the last 2 baits are. Square bill and a jig. I don't know what one to put first. I've been debating this. I caught a ridiculous amount of fish on a square bill this year. Ridiculous. I threw this bait. Any color that has to do with chartreuse. And I did catch them on craw colors every once in a while. Actually, the biggest fish I caught on a square bill this year was on a DB craw color by the Denny Brown craw color there. Which, my biggest fish on a square bill this year, 4.5 pounder. But that fish came on the crawfish color. But mostly your chartreuse colors or chartreuse sexy shad or neon bluegill. They'd be just killing them all year. From ice out to ice in. Just numbers. But I think I'm going to put this bait number 2. behind the jig, because the jig, I don't know, guys. This bait is just, I don't know. It has to be my all-time favorite bait ever for my fishing career so far. I've caught so many fish on this bait. You can fish this bait any way possible. Any way you could think you can fish a jig. I mean, I'm telling you, this year, if we didn't know what to throw or what the conditions were, we weren't set on one presentation I was going to catch him, it'd be jig. We'd be throwing the jig, and we'd catch fish on the jig no matter what. That's the thing. Some days we just get a lot of dinks on the jig. We catch a lot, but a lot of dinks. But other days, I mean, one day I was throwing the square bill, and Luke was throwing a jig, and we were just killing them. Luke caught 2 4-pounders flipping a jig for about 4 hours. Just not really flipping it, but just fishing around any cover. I mean, kind of junk fishing in the fall, because that's what you do, fish the bank. And that's what he was doing, just fishing anything on the shore. And I was just throwing a square bill. I caught a ton of fish, and didn't catch a ton, but he caught some beasts. And that's how it was all year. You catch a bunch of dinks, or you catch a few beasts. Some days you catch a bunch of beasts. So, guys, the jig was my #1 bait. I probably threw it the most this year. Probably overthrew it a little bit. Threw it a little too exclusively. But I caught a lot of fish on the jig. Right now it's my all-time favorite bait ever, to be honest with you guys, because last season I killed them on a jig also. I mean, I take this jig, you flip it around any cover, grass, whatever, and then you're like, oh, wait, they're not hitting that. Let's go out to this point. We'll fish a jig off this point. Well, let's fish that riprap over there. And you just catch them no matter what you're doing with a jig. If there's fish in the area, you're going to catch them. So, guys, that's the #1 bait 2013. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm glad you guys wanted to know what I was catching fish on this year. I'm sure Luke will do a video on his top 5 baits 2013, and I'm sure they'll be very similar to mine, because we were just crushing fish on all the same baits. We were doing a great job. And now, just to let you know, I want to tell you two close baits that were into the top 5, close to the top 5. Drop shot was close to getting in. I caught a lot of fish on a drop shot. I was going to put that in the video, but other baits were better, the ones I showed you. And I was thinking about putting, I'm not sure. Oh, finesse jig in, because I'd be fishing regular jig, and all of a sudden the bite be bad. Take my medium action 7-foot Veritas, take that finesse jig, catch some fish on that. I did that. And I was also going to throw in a Series 3 crank, because early in the year, couldn't keep the fish off those either. But guys, those are my, oh, also, a Senko. When you couldn't catch fish on anything else, no deep fish in the summer, no shallow fish in the summer, basically beat the bank with a Senko. Caught fish on that too, but didn't fish it as much as I did this year as I did last year. But guys, those are my top 5 baits 2013. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos.